Okay, are you ready to get unstuck and celebrate life after 50? I am so excited to do this very special Zoom with you, video with you. We have fabulous expert, Suzy Rosenstein. She is a master life coach and midlife mentor, the host and founder of Women in the Middle podcast. And she is also the author of the book, 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50. And I specifically wanted to bring her on, not only because she is just like me in the fact that we realize how important it is to celebrate wins, whether that is that you're trying to lose weight, you're shifting into a different transition in life, whatever the case may be, is so important to celebrate those wins. So Suzy, I've already spoken way too much. Why don't you let us know who you are and let's talk about celebrating.
Thanks so much for having me. I have been in the life coaching space now for 10 years. My story is that I was working in health education and health promotion for 27 years and got laid off, got the knock, knock, knock at the door. It was very scary. I was asked to go to a meeting, and what do you know? Laid off. It was a huge surprise. And the thing is that I was feeling very stuck for a good 5 years, which is a common mantra of midlife women. And coincidentally, it was the year I was turning 50. And I, even in the meeting with the HR reps and the union reps and like how scary it was, I had this sense that it was a gift. It was a gift that I couldn't give myself because I was, dabbling in being an entrepreneur for years, since I was 12 years old, actually, with calligraphy, believe it or not. I'd always been interested and have tried several entrepreneurial things over the years, some small, some bigger, and I just never had the nerve. So when I got this gift, the gift of a layoff, a gift I couldn't give myself, I hired a coach. And that coaching was so effective and so quick. I thought, oh my gosh, I have a background in psychology. This feels like something I could do. I'm so interested. I got to dive in. And that's what I did. So immediately I was fascinated by coaching. I got certified, and then I became master certified. And I just dove in to working with midlife women because the year I turned 50 was also the year that my first kid went to university. And it's hard to believe it was 10 years ago. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of weeks. I can't even believe it, but it's all happening. And I have really grown to appreciate the power of celebration. I started the podcast Women in the Middle in 2017. So it'll be the 6th year anniversary of that also in a couple of weeks.
Happy anniversary and birthday, by the way.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And I guess what I've realized doing all this work and working with so many midlife women is that aging is really a gift. It really is a gift, but so many of us don't think that way. And I have to say that what really, like, I've had this mindset for years because I had some, real sadness and tragedy early on in my life. I have outlived both my mother and father. I was 5 when my mother died and 12 when my father died. And they were very young. They were in their 30s and early 40s, and they didn't have the gift of aging. We tend to think, we take it for granted, and it's so easy to think so many negative things about aging. And most midlife people do without even being aware of how subconscious a lot of these thoughts are. But, even if you think about, the best is yet to come. We see it on magnets, and we see it on pillows, and we see it on posters, and we see it on Pinterest. But do you really believe that? Do you really believe that the best is yet to come? Or is it really a downhill slide to the end?
Or is it that you're always waiting for that to come, and you're never really focusing in on the celebration or the moments right now?
That's exactly it. It really feels like the best stuff has happened already, and it won't be like that again. And it's like that with youth. It's like that with opportunity. And so many of us have these thoughts without really being aware of what we are thinking. And of course, the problem is that we believe a lot of what we think without question. And then those thoughts create our feeling state. And we end up just being, having a lower, more negative feeling state when we're not aware of a lot of these thoughts about aging. So I really thought that this little book, 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50, was really important to put a spotlight on 50. Oh, I'm going to have to do an update because I'm going to be 60. I have to add 10 more.
You'll have to say 50 and 60.
Yeah. To keep adding on. But it just really occurred to me that aging is a gift. That's how I start off the book. And we can do more to celebrate. Celebrate doesn't always have to be a party. It's really a way to look at life.
Oh, I love that. And just so that everyone knows, since we are talking about gifts, this book is going to be a gift for everybody watching this. The promo code and link to get this book as a gift is below in the description. So take a look at that. So let's talk a little bit about how celebration can also help us get unstuck, because that's something that's in the title of your book as well as in the
yes.
list.
That's right. So it's 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50, Get Unstuck, Avoid Regrets, and Live Your Best Life. So the way I look at it, there's really, of course, this isn't scientific in terms of this is exactly what's happening. It's really my take on what's going on, working with so many women and being in this space for as long as I've been. And so I really think there are 6 key areas that will really help you celebrate life. And as you're celebrating life and your mindset is more about what's possible rather than what's not possible, it becomes much easier to get a hint of and start to believe that there's a lot of possibility there for you to make change, to make enhancements, to just really have more fun. So these 6 areas are self-care is the first one. Sorry, look, I have a sticky here. I'm just going to pull it down, put it right here so I don't mix up the order, because I like the order. So I'm going to do the order.
Tell us all of them, and then let's go through one by one.
Okay, good. See, it's so important to have a sticky because already I
got my paper down here too. So if you see me looking down for a second, it's not because I'm bored. It's because I'm like, oh, I know
I was trying to put it sneaky on the screen, but whatever, it's a sticky. Okay, so the first one is celebrating self-care. Okay, so take the way we take care of ourselves. The second one, no, I did it again, is celebrating your age.
Let's start from the start. Okay, what are grab your sticky note and just read them, okay? Just read them.
Okay, what you're witnessing right now is a midlife moment. Sometimes they happen, but we just go with them.
Gosh.
Okay, I have it right here. Okay,
go for it.
Go ahead, ask me the question.
Okay, so let's start again. So what are these 6 areas that you need to focus in on there? Celebration focus.
Okay, I gave a big hint as I was talking. The first one is celebrating your age. Number 2 is celebrating self-care. Number 3 is celebrating your passion. Number 4, celebrating your relationships. Number 5, celebrating your professional self, like the way you show up professionally. And number 6, for those who have children, celebrating your empty nest.
All right. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go through them one by one, just a little though, so people can still get the book and get all of the information right there.
Absolutely. Okay, this will be nice and brief. So as I mentioned, I've outlived my parents, and when you're celebrating age, the idea really is to keep that perspective that not everybody has the gift of aging. So what are you going to do with the time that you have? And at the end of each chapter, there's a little story that's personal. And then there are some prompts for you to do some journaling with some great questions. And there are 30 prompts in the book. And then there's a list of ways that you can actually celebrate the thing that was discussed in that little chapter. And then all of the things add up to 50 ways for the time being until they're 60. So one of the things that I have in celebrating your age has to do with an idea that came from a family member of mine that I did talk about in my podcast. And it's to, at the end of the year, think about your top 10 days. And the way this is celebrating your age is because we're celebrating the year. We're celebrating another passage of time. And this top 10 day concept is really a beautiful thing. At the end of the year, you actually review your year and identify 10 days that were amazing, that made it into your top 10 list. So then you're appreciating it, you're reliving it. And then what's really beautiful about this idea is that then you reach out to the people who were participating in those days with you and thank them. You thank them, you acknowledge them, that they were with you on a day that was amazing and that you're grateful for that. And that's that. That's one idea of the 50. So that's celebrating your age.
And it sounds like with your celebration as well, that a lot of gratitude is coming in. Gratitude and celebration are connected. Is that accurate, would you say?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, because not everybody has that gift of aging. Absolutely. The next one is celebrating self-care. So self-care is the way you take care of yourself on purpose.
I cannot wait to hear, because of course everybody everyone that's going to be listening to you is with me specifically for the self-care, for the fitness, for the nutrition, for the wellness, and for those that want the weight loss or the strength. And I think that it is an area where many people get down on themselves. They even get down on themselves when they're taking care of themselves, but they're like, oh, it wasn't enough. Oh, I didn't put myself, like, there's just a lot of negativity, and we're constantly trying to talk about celebrating the win, celebrating the moment there. So I can't wait to hear what you say about this one.
Well, I'm actually looking at it a little bit broader. So absolutely, it's everything you said. It's those basic needs, it's basic movement and fueling your body. But the one thing that I also think is in there are things like travel and passion projects, right? And hobbies and that kind of thing. And in fact, that is the thing I spoke about in this category in the little personal part of the chapter. I gave myself permission to really dive into something that I was passionate about with self-care, because it was a craft related thing. It had to do with making beaded wire head coverings, hair accessories and head coverings for Jewish women, believe it or not. I know that's like very niche, but I just allowed myself to do that for years. It was very artsy. And whenever I get involved in craft, and anybody who paints or is creative and does anything with their hands, they know that you can really get into flow. And for me, it was very relaxing, and it really was kind of soothing my soul in a way to take care of myself, because when I did not do that, I really felt like something was missing. And then the irony of what happened with that whole thing of allowing myself to pursue that for 12 years or so was that one day I got an email from a curator at the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA in Manhattan, and they were looking for items like this to be part of a very large exhibition that was there in 2017 called Items is Fashion Modern. So you just never know what happens when you take care of yourself. So I took care of myself that way. But the other thing I'm really, really working on, other than strength training with Alicia, because of course I've done that, of course, but I'm really working on sleep, because I have noticed that I'm very resistant to going to bed at a reasonable hour. I get all excited about getting things done at night when I'm not being bothered or interrupted. And I'm really working on it. So it's just taking care of yourself is something you have an opportunity to do. And if you don't prioritize it and celebrate what you're able to do and how you put yourself first, nobody will.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think, like from my perspective, at least, not necessarily your book, but when I'm speaking with my clients, it's about celebrating even the small wins, the small taking care of yourself. You know, I had someone who said to me that they were dying to eat Taco Bell recently. Like, this was their thing. They love Taco Bell. They can get it ordered right to the house. They want Taco Bell. And just one time, they said, you know what? No, I'm not going to order it because I'll feel really bad the next day. I'm not going to do it. That's a huge win. The fact that you liked to order Taco Bell all the time, and one time you said no, that is a huge shift from what you were doing when you were thinking, okay, I'm just going to do it, whatever. You thought about it. You thought that it wasn't something that was going to make you feel good the next day, and you decided not to do it. And I think most people don't realize that that's a win. And it's so important to celebrate even the thing that you think is the smallest, most insignificant win, it's something significant and important for growth.
Yes, because you're having your own back. You're doing what you know will help your body, will help you feel better about you. You're taking care of yourself. So it's really shifting from what do I think I should be doing to what do I want to do now in the moment to what do I want to do that will actually help me? How can I take care of myself better in that moment? And that's a great example. I love all of these examples of self-care because women in the middle have really not put themselves first in decades. So it's a great example of that. Okay, number 3 is passion, celebrating with passion. And this is just really allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to do what you love. Whatever it is, whatever lights you up, whatever you've always been interested in, what you're curious about, what puts you into flow, what just puts you in your happy place. And for me, it's whale watching.
You know what?
No question.
For anybody, you've got to follow Suzy's Facebook. Okay, Suzy, you've got to give me the link, and I'll put it also in the description below. But when I saw your pictures, it lit me up as well because I was in Mexico. I went whale watching, and it was one of those experiences where it was life changing. And so it lit me up to see your pictures, and you have these great pictures of it on your Facebook. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say I really share that
Oh
passion.
my gosh. I could talk about whales all day. It's been a passion for me since 1985. And I love nature photography and I love being on the water and I love being with the whales and I love understanding whale behavior and being able to take great pictures. Like it just, there's so much of it that I love. And the thing is that we don't allow ourselves this happiness because we're too busy or because we've got obligations or like there's so many reasons or because we just say, well, I don't even know what I'm passionate about because we think it's too hard to identify a passion. So figuring out what you know you like is such a great way to celebrate your life and just really honor what makes you happy. It's so good.
I also on that, I think with a lot of my clients that when you're saying they don't even know what their passion is, it's because their head has been down, taking care of the kids. Now they're in this place where it's empty nest. So taking care of the kids, having the job, doing all of the things. It's almost like everything has just been a blur and there hasn't been any time to think about what gives me purpose, passion, feeling. And especially, I know that a lot of my clients that are retiring right now are coming up to this quite often. They're like, yeah. Okay, now I'm about to enter this next chapter where I'm retiring and I have no idea what lights me up and I don't know what direction to take. What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, I have an amazing worksheet for this. And it's if I guess you could put the link in the notes. It's an amazing free worksheet. And really, there are clues everywhere. You have to believe that you're already on the right path, that you know what you like. But most of us believe that we don't have a clue. We just don't know how to put the clues together. So my best strategy that is outlined in this worksheet called Passion Project 50, and it's on my website. But it's really a reflection on what you've always liked. So it breaks down your life in a way that makes it easy to figure out the little things that you always liked. And then basically you just look at them for patterns and you'll be reminded of things that you forgot about. Like one of the things I forgot about was making mud pies. When I was a little girl, I loved making mud pies, like, mud pie in the backyard. And I wrote that down because I really liked it. And it was really the first time I ever did anything with my hands like that. And then it turns out that I'm very attracted to making things like that. And then I took cake decorating and I love to make flowers that look so realistic. And I made the jewelry and the head coverings. Like there were so many clues to mud pies. So it's not that I want to make mud pies again. And it's not even that I want to do pottery, but I just like making things with my hands. And so when you look at this, my clients have noticed all kinds of things that they forgot that were very important to them at a certain time in their lives. And then these things can really give you clues. And my clients have reported back all kinds of things that they've brought back into their life. Some of them have helped them make decisions about career change. Others have just helped them add more joy. And it's been really, really good. Anytime you can celebrate anything about yourself, it's a good thing. It really is.
I love that. I love that. Okay,
so
share
that's number 3.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Share number 4.
Okay, number 4 is celebrating relationships. So, we've got relationships in our life, and a lot of times we just go on autopilot with them and we're not intentional with them. So, your relationships are all kinds of different relationships, people in your inner circle, maybe kids or spouses, parents, siblings, cousins, all that kind of stuff. And then you also have the level of friendships. Those are also important relationships. And then there's also this community level, the way we connect with associations in our local community and alumni and maybe a fitness class, anything like that. But the point is, you've got all these people in your life and you can be more intentional with them. So if there's more of that you want, once you accept responsibility, you can be more intentional. Maybe it's a conversation you want to have with somebody. Maybe you want more girlfriends. Maybe you actually want to go away with a friend and you never had. So it's really just remembering that you can do more, you can show up more if that becomes a priority for you. So one of the best suggestions I have in this category is to actually call people rather than text. So not all the time. Nobody seems to like the phone anymore, but even on somebody's
a little bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
When he's gonna pick up, they'll be like, is this a spam call? What's happening here?
It's so true. So even like on somebody's birthday, instead of just doing the Facebook birthday greeting, which actually I like, but you could call somebody and it makes such a difference. Send a card. Nobody does this basic stuff anymore. Not nobody, but it's very rare. And it makes a difference. So that's just a little example of what you can do, but it can really make a difference. So number 5 is celebrating your professional self. So whatever you do, you've worked hard to get where you're at. And there are things that you can do to celebrate it. There are ways that you can bring more of what you love, even into a job that you don't like. There are ways that you can make changes, even at our age. There are things that you can do to put more of a spotlight on things that you really like to do. I remember I had one client, she liked her job. She didn't love it anymore. She wanted more. And so she started to look for a job. But in the meantime, we talked a lot about what she liked best at her job that she'd grown out of a little bit. And she talked about really liking the public speaking part, leading groups, like being in front of groups and facilitating and speaking and educating. And so that whole thing wasn't officially part of her job, but it had turned into something that she really liked a lot about her job. And so I said, well, do you have a picture of yourself doing any of that on LinkedIn? Are you telling anybody that you're really good at that? And like it was coming in on evaluations that she really liked it. And so she thought about how she could start to incorporate that on LinkedIn and just like own it, step into it and own it. I had another client who she loved reading those self-help books. She was like those business books and self-help books. She was reading so much. And I pointed out, you've become a kind of knowledgeable about a lot of these books. You could start featuring some of the things you're learning from the books on your LinkedIn and kind of own what you're really good at. So anything like that for me, what I started to lean into was, this is going to sound silly, but it was being silly. So, like just now I laughed, I can't help myself. And so what I started to notice on the podcast was iTunes reviews that were pointing out that I was upbeat and that the silliness and the giggling here and there was really helpful, especially when dealing with very difficult topics that we deal with in midlife. And when I started to see this over and over again, I embraced it. I thought, wow, I thought it was unprofessional, but it's actually helping. So it's just like, okay, Suzy, you now have permission to let your freak flag fly a little bit. Be yourself.
I love that. Yay.
That was a big lesson for me. I just really thought I had to like pull it back a little bit, but I can't help it. And it turned out that it was helpful. It was really helpful.
At the end of the day, it probably made you more confident as well, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I can just be me.
I can just be me. Exactly. And the last one is empty nest. And so many of us at this age have kids who are leaving or thinking of leaving or trying to leave or starting to leave or coming back after they left, but whatever. It's like a transition from like people who need you a whole lot to people who are young adults and need you less, but still need you. And so when a lot of people start to think about this transition, like especially moms, that's who we're talking about here, it can be very scary and very negative. And even though we know and we've read and we've been told that it's great, you're going to have independence, you're going to be able to connect with who you are again, it still feels like loss at the beginning, and it can really be hard to get your bearings again. A lot of my clients are anticipating when that happens and what they're going to do to fill the gap. And so it can also be just when you're not, if you don't have kids, when you've been working at the same place for a long time and then there's a job change or you've been laid off or let go. It's the
Retiring
same sort of
again, right?
retiring. Yeah. Cause you're reimagining your identity, connecting with yourself again. And in some cases, re just everything. It's just like reconnecting, reimagining, repurposing, reimagining your skills. It's like a reset, really. And so with Empty Nest, one of the main things that I have found very helpful, and so many of my clients have too, is that when you think about the amount of time that you've spent with your kids, 18 years ish, and then you think about how much time you have in front of you, hopefully everybody's healthy and it's an average lifespan and all that stuff. You have way more time with your kids as young adults and adults than you do as younger children. So I like to think about Empty Nest as the beginning of the way you want to relate to your kids as young adults versus the end of your time as a mom.
Oh, I love that. I
It's
love
so different. It's so different. And if you don't have kids, it's the same sort of thing. Like I did this thing and knew myself in this way for this long. But wow, I still, even though I'm older, I still have a fair bit of time on the other end of things where it can be a beginning rather than an end.
I
And I love that. And that's the main thing. It's that mindset shift around what's going on in Empty Nest. So those are the 6 key categories. I think there's lots of room for celebration when it comes to being over 50.
I absolutely love that. And I love that all of this is in your book, that once again, you are gifting to everybody who is watching this. The promo code is in the description. For all over 50 Fit and Fabulous members at this time, you will get forever access to this. If you are watching this on YouTube, you have 48 hours to get the promo code and download your free book. Otherwise, the code goes away and becomes exclusive only for the over 50 Fit and Fabulous members. And on top of that, you're also going to give us a link for that, the Passion Project
Worksheet. Yep.
I think I'll do that too, just for fun.
Absolutely. It is fun. Don't rush through it. Like I recommend printing it out and then just leaving it on your desk and just, because once you start remembering, oh, what was going on in grade 3? Oh, I had a tape recorder as a gift.
Well, you're like when you were mentioning that and you were like mud pies, I was thinking back to high school and I was like, I went to a high school for drama, like for acting. And I was like, I haven't acted in forever. And that just brings up a lot, especially like here I am with YouTube and everything. I'm like, oh, I might be getting even more creative with that because it lit me up when I even thought about that. So I'm excited about that.
So good. So good. One of my clients recently got back into a choir. Doing that exercise reminded her how much she liked to sing. And so she found a choir, I think it had pop tunes or something. And now she's singing again and she's beside herself.
I love that.
Oh. Yeah, it's just so good. But Alicia, I was really thinking, okay, how can we relate this book to exactly what it is that you do? And I was thinking about myself doing exercise and being in your program. And I was thinking, you know what? What would I be resistant to about celebrating a small win? And that's really what I wanted to ask, what I wanted to put out there right now is ask yourself, why not? Why don't I want to celebrate? And try to see what you're thinking that is minimizing your motivation to celebrate. So don't just do it automatically, but like, is it a thought like, I didn't do enough, it's worthy of celebration? Or what if I celebrate and then I forget to do whatever it was I was thinking of doing, like do the bicep curl?
What if I celebrate and then in a couple of days from now or a month from now, that celebration that I was celebrating, like losing a certain amount, fitting into your jeans, it backslides and I can't keep it up. And I know that because I am with clients that say, like, oh yeah, now I can fit into my jeans. I'm like, yay, you can fit into, like, you can, this is something you wanted. You feel more confident about that. You feel stronger. You feel healthier because of that. You know, maybe some of the conditions they had are being reversed. This is a wonderful moment. And it's like, I can't celebrate, because if I celebrate and then I lose that, well, then there's no celebration, right? There's no, it's
Then what? Exactly. And, you know, the other piece of that is compare and despair. Well, I shouldn't really celebrate because Jennifer over there is doing twice as much as I'm doing, or has had way more success. So it's not, what I did isn't good enough. It's not worthy of celebration. I've personally experienced those thoughts, and I've really had to work on them, because why not celebrate? Like, there's nobody evaluating your definition of success and your ability to celebrate. So what if you celebrate and then you have to, like, you to use your words, you have to backslide a little bit, and then you have to keep working on it. So what?
exactly.
I would celebrate, keep working on it. like there's no downside.
Exactly. And like, so every week in our support seats, we talk about wins and struggles, but you have to talk about your wins too, even if it's something small. And I think what happens for many is that they, at the end, they're like, okay, well, okay, so I'm allowed to celebrate that. Is that something I'm supposed to celebrate? I think those that have stuck with it long term, those that, and when I say stuck with it long term, when I say stuck with either weight loss or your strength training, it doesn't mean that every single week you've done every single one of your workouts, you've lost a whole bunch of different weight, you've maintained that exact number on the scale or whatever else that is. It doesn't mean that you're sustaining that. What it means is that you're living life, and it's still the main goal, as you said, to look at your own self-care and take care of yourself and continue on the journey. And all of those that have continued on their journey have been able to find celebration, which is why I think it's so important that you came on here and you talked about celebration.
Oh, that's great. But really, it's your thoughts. Like, you have to find out, what are you thinking that is pulling you away from leaning in to celebrate? Like, because celebrating sounds great on paper. So if you're not noticing that, you're like, "Ooh, this would be fun. Ooh, let me write about this. Let me talk about this. Let me buy a new workout outfit. Let me replace my sneakers without guilt," or, you know, whatever. Oh my God, I have such guilt about replacing sneakers.
Why?
Because I'm always, because they're so expensive. Because they're so expensive. So it's always like, are they really bad? They don't look that bad, but I'm not feeling the support. And, you know, I go back and forth in my head. Is it time to replace them? Can I get another, 6 weeks out of them? And it's really one of those things where it's like that. Like, why don't I celebrate with taking care of myself and getting new sneakers when I think I need new sneakers, and just stop the drama, you know? But anyway, it's the one that I have really struggled with is compare and despair. So when you're in a group, you do see everybody being candid, and it can easily come up when you notice somebody else rocking something that you have a little bit of challenge with. This happened with me in the podcast when I was hitting a huge milestone, and I was like, well, I have these other friends who have bigger podcasts. Even though I was hitting a huge milestone marker, I still was, is it worthy of celebration when I know I could do better? I know I could be farther along. And I had to really, really work on that one. So I'm sharing that with full vulnerability and honesty, that if you notice yourself thinking these thoughts, they're optional. But when you do think those thoughts, it creates a feeling for you. And that feeling is probably something negative that's pulling you away from the emotion you need to do what you want to do and take care of yourself the way you want to take care of yourself.
And then on that, because this is a mindset, it's also, what action is that negative thought really creating for you? Because if you're not celebrating, then you're not enjoying the journey. Especially we know when it comes to eating healthier and taking care of yourself, that's hard work. It is. Like, you can make it the easiest path, but it's still something that's harder. And so if you have really negative thoughts, and you cannot celebrate the moment, your thoughts are always leading back to, I can't celebrate, and this is why, then that journey is going to feel a lot tougher, and it's going to be harder to stay with it and to stay on track.
Absolutely. Like, I'm working on water and sleep right now. And when I have a day where I've done everything I wanted to do, it's like party time. So what does a party look like? Just like a pat on my back. It's like, oh my God, look at me. I did it.
Yay, I love that.
I went to bed.
Oh,
I'm
I
proud of
love
myself.
that. Mine is lying down and doing nothing, because that's another not giving myself permission to do nothing.
I love that. I was away this past weekend, and somebody said, I went a day early, and somebody said, what are you going to do this afternoon? And I looked at her and I said, nothing. And she goes, nothing? I said, yeah, I didn't bring my computer. I'm doing nothing. She's like, wow, that's great. I said, I know. It's really great.
Oh, I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much for being on today. I absolutely loved it. I think we could keep on talking forever, but I'm also aware that people's time span these days is very short. So you're probably all ready for us to hang up, aren't you? Hang up. Okay, so we will end it there. And once again, don't forget to download your free gift, 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50 with Suzy Rosenstein. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks of your book.
Oh, thank you. And thanks so much for having me. And, you are worthy of celebration. Whatever you're doing, this kind of work, taking care of yourself better, showing up the way you want to show up, it's absolutely worthy of celebration. I give you permission. If you don't have permission yourself, you can remember I'm in your corner. Alicia's in your corner, and it's worth it. Celebration is worth it.